it's a G-force. So this is why we can use it in different types of inclusion impacts. So when the condition is not an impact because it's a variation on several fence panel. So the system control unit can get all the values put together and knows and
Can everybody hear Ramsey okay?
can make a
Or is it little
rollout.
talker? You're okay?
Ramsey,
Yeah,
turn the volume up a little.
yeah.
Or look to the people so we can
Yeah,
hear
no
you.
So climbing event, so it's the Z component. So this is a different type of axis. Cutting it will be X. So if someone cut the cable, between two fence panel, so the nearest sensor will make the most value. So it will be kept by the system. So wind event, so we have like, for example, in the slide for fence panel, it's the same component that will make variation of more than one fence panel, and the control unit will get all these values for all the four sensors, and it will be rolled out. So there's no intrusion on that.
How many would it have to affect? What's the minimum number of sensors for wind?
Wind? Yeah, no, I mean wind, it depends on the type of fence, the health of the fence. If the fence is not tighted properly, slacked, so you will have moving, several fence panel. So the system will act on, more than one adjacent sensor. It gets that value and it
What's
can
the
go.
minimum number though?
Oh, the minimum, it's one sensor. This is
Only
the
for
minimum.
wind?
Yeah. The minimum is one sensor. So the G-Fence 2400, so it's protection index IP55, the box itself, but the G-Fence even can be put inside another NEMA 4 box also, or it could be installed inside a building using an inner cable, 18 gauge for wires, non-detected cable, up to 200 meters, very important. You cannot exceed that value because you will have some communication issues. Temper protection alarm. So here we have a temper protection alarms. So if someone open the case, unscrew the cover, so it will raise an alarm if it's cable. Intrusion relay, one per zone. So by default, automatically, when you put the IP base, use like a laptop or something else on the network, there's a default IP address, so you use the password. After that, I will show you. And then they can create virtual zones. So each virtual zone will activate physically one relay. So relay number one will be dedicated for zone number one and so on, up to 10 zones. And the virtual zones, you can start whatever you want. So sensor number 1 to 8, zone number 1, 9 to 12, zone number 2, and keep going until you reach the end of line. Technical alarm relay. So technical alarm relay means what? If someone cut the cable here, or cut the cable here, whatever along the perimeter, it will generate a technical alarm. So the maximum, time for response time, technical alarm, it will be by default 30 seconds. So after 30 seconds, you will receive the technical alarm. But when you put back, let's say you splice together and put back the wire, it will be less than 10 seconds.
Does that identify the nearest device that it's on?
Yeah, exactly. So you mean when someone cut the cable?
Yeah, the nearest sensor should by right,
Yeah,
it should be a trouble on that sensor.
Exactly.
And by right, it should be causing a trouble on that particular zone if it's zoned in.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that will identify in the software.
Yes. So let's say you have a problem with sensor number 12 on zone number 2. So you receive a technical alarm on between zone number 12 and sensor number 12 and 13. So the 12, and it will be on zone number 2. So into the logs, you will see zone number 2 has been triggered, alarm, and you will see the sensor also related. But if your system is tied to a VMS, you will not receive the sensor information, you receive the zone that has been triggered. So set up via integrated web base, so it's a web-based server on it. So just plug the network cable, that's default IP address with user and password, and you will have Google Chrome, so just type it, and you will be set up for all the zones, relays, and so on. API capability, so at the same time, on parallel, we have a built-in API, so we have the technical documentation. This is good, for example, if we have other companies, third-party companies, need to develop their own communication with our product. So we can offer the API, HTTP API, so they can just develop their plugins to be able to communicate with their VMS. If the VMS is not already supported with our platform. Compatible with Maxibus through the RS-485. So here we have a great terminal block here, three pins. So one, it will be the data plus and minus for RS-485, and the other one, it will be the ground. So very important to clarify. So if you use one control unit, or you can use more than one control unit, up to 4. So in that case, you can use RS-485 daisy chain connected together until you reach the last one, the fourth, and the last one will be communicated with the comport one, Maxibus. So in that case, you need to use an independent ground. So ground, it will be like big metal rod inside the ground and make a real ground on it, because we need to avoid any storms, any problem to protect the equipment itself, the control board. So even if you use more than a control unit, so each ground will be independent with one cable. It could be PVC pipe inside and then going with the rod.
If you do that, you're gonna have differential grounds. You understand that?
Which one?
If you put a ground pin, each one of those controllers, you'll have a potential between them.
Yeah, if you don't put the ground, you will have an issue.
That's why you put number 1.
Yeah.
You keep it inside and you ground it inside.
Yeah.
You bring it,
If you put the inside, yes.
and then you bring a ground out to make a common.
Yes. If you put the control unit
pins
inside,
down,
yeah.
If you put ground pins down, you have one here, one here,
Yeah.
and here, and here, you're gonna have a problem.
Yeah, the power potential will be increased in that case.
Well, no, you're gonna have potential.
Yeah.
Between this one and this one, all of a sudden you got voltage on the line.
Yeah.
It's not a ground anymore.
No.
You
But
have
if-
to common them out.
Exactly. If you put the control unit inside the building, you ground it, so you can keep going until you reach the end of line. Yeah. In that case.
Yeah, so you gotta bring it, you have to bring you have to put them on a common across,
Yeah.
ground across,
Yeah.
the same common.
Same company.
Okay, because if you do the grounding pin,
Mm-hmm.
now you have 4 different.
Yeah, you have 4. Yeah, you have 4 different. No, but you have to keep in mind here the data here with the ground. You have to look back on each control unit, so you will have the same ground. Yeah.
So one way or the other.
Yes, exactly. And up to 16 control unit on one comport, because we can connect up to 4 control units together in one comport, and the Maxibus hub can handle 4 comports. So 4 times 4 gives you 16 control units that way. So, first of all, what we need exactly as tools. So you need a screwdriver, just to open the control unit, a flat screw driver, just to play with the terminal block here to pass all your sensor cable. You need a stripper, and if the control unit, okay, is outside the building on the fence, there's anchors here, okay. You have to use 8 millimeters nuts, that screwdriver, to be able just to put to twist. So inside the building, you don't need that tool. So usually you just remove the unscrew, you put on the maybe wood,
plywood.
Yeah. So just take it like that. So in that case, so use control unit up to 600 meters, so 300 meters, link it together with the link box up to the termination link, and you do the same step if you need with 300 more control unit. So in that case, you will have 600 meters total independent system, and if you need more than, you can tie together another equipment for 2400 together to be able to communicate with the Maxibus.
Louder.
Sorry?
Louder.
Louder? Okay.
I can hear you back here, buddy.
Okay, so I repeat. So the control unit 2400 can handle up to 600 meters.
One way?
Sorry?
Like it can have one loop, 600 meters?
No, it will be 300 meters on one side, 300 meters on the other side.
Oh.
So 600 meters on both sides. Here. So 300 and 300. Each 100 meters, it's split
my-
with the link box.
So if my master's inside,
Yep.
not necessarily lost it, okay. I
No,
understand.
if you master, okay, I'm going to answer you. So if you master, I mean, in 2400, there's no master. So it's because it's independent system, such as the 3000. So if the control unit is inside, use non-detector cable, 18 gauge
No,
for
got
wires,
it, I understand.
200 meters,
And then
loop,
300
and you can start yeah, of course. And very important, so one control unit, roll of sensor cable. So you put one sensor cable on each panel, the other one on the second panel. So if you face one metal fence panel, you have to make a small loop to don't have the cable too tight. And then when you reach the end of 100 meters, you have to use the link box. So the link box, you put the last sensor here, sensor number 40, and you start with 41, and you keep going with another 100 meters. And then you can cut the cable after 175, and then put your unit link.
These cables come in different lengths, so they all have to be the wall.
It's all 100 meters.
Okay.
But for the GFence 2400, we have the half roll of cable. It's 50 meters, 20 sensors. So let's say that you have like 230 meters total. So you have 2 rolls of cable, 328 feet, plus 1/2 roll of cable. In that case, the same link box has a switch. So it has UT, it means dimension link, or you can push to use link box to tie it 200 meters together and to keep going. So it's the same box, it's not 2 independent boxes. So input, output. And it has already having like a surge protection on inside here. So it's built in. So this is what you need. So one control unit, a couple of rows cable, depending on the long perimeter, a couple of link box, UTUR up to 6 for a total of 600 meters. So screwdriver, stripper, multimeter, just to measure the voltage. The voltage, it can be 12 volt DC or 24 volt DC. There's no problem. So usually, some of the installer needs, to put like the same power as the Allen panel, so 24 volt DC, it will be perfect, I guess. So all the configuration can be made into the system itself. So once you put all the fans, you power it. So there is a dip switch here. I can show you. Here I put on UT. So a power dot. And I just flip from detection to the right side, because the right side I have sensors. The left side I don't have sensor. But if you have sensor, you will finish. When you hear the last beep, that means the system, the control unit, discover all the sensors. If you don't hear the last beep, so there's an issue, something. So maybe you forgot to put the UR as UT, end of line. If it's UR, you will not hear the third beep. So in that case, everything has been discovered. Now I can play with dip switch here, the switch actually. This is the sensitivity level for all sensors. So by default I put at 8, and then there is a black button here. I hold for 3 seconds to save the configuration file into the cache memory. So I hear a small beep, so everything has been triggered. I just flip it to detection mode, and then the system works correctly. So actually I put in 2 impacts, I will show you. So if I play with it, there is no alarms. But if I hit the fence here, so this is 1 impact. Second impact, this is a real alarm. Now the buzzer here, built in, the buzzer, this is only during commissioning. If you close the cover, it will close the temper, you will not hear the beep. So this is good, for you guys, if you make the commissioning and you are like 50 meters away, so you can shake the fence, you can hear the beep. Okay, so the system works, I can keep going. So this is the way that we help.
You would test each sensor?
I mean, usually we test the zone itself. So when it creates zones, we hit the fence a couple of times and we check the logs. Okay, we pass through all zones, so So that's just, because usually when you hit the fence, the sensor number, let's say 12, zone number 1, you don't have the choice. It passes through sensor number 1 to, if there, you have a bad sensor on sensor number 1, you will not get the alarms. So this is like when you put the IP address, by default it's 192.168.105.202. The username and password, it will be admin and 4 space bar on the keyboard. But you can change the default password after. And you can change the IP address to meet, you know, the customer network. It's flexible. So actually, by default, there is no communication. You have also here DAB, so RS-485 communication. By default, if you have only one equipment like that, you don't need the Max-Bus for small perimeter. You can use direct contact, so you don't need the RS-485. So by default, there's no communication, RS-485. And let's say you use more than one control unit together, so you need to use the RS-485 to type to the Max-Bus. Then we can put, you know, the second step here, Max-Bus communication, activate. So it will activate physically the communication bus. So you can wire it, you can use it. So 4 sensor built in, 328. Link automation unit. And this is an example, for example. So you have here, so you have a control unit, and you have 100 meters. So each 100 meters, it's using the link box until you reach the end of line, termination link, same box, and you keep going on the other side. So this is a total of a small perimeter, complete perimeter, with 600 meters, 1 control unit, and 3 link box.
So the maximum length of cable is 600 meters.
Exactly, 600
So
meters,
if
6
I
roll
use
of
a
cables.
non-sensing cable, if I put one of these inside,
Yeah.
my first 100 meters, 50 meters out,
Yeah, I mean, no.
then I've lost.
No, I mean, in that case, 600 meters, this is a total for the sensor. Now, if you move the control unit inside, you can use additional 200 meters.
Oh, I've got, that's right.
Yeah,
I've
it's
got,
a-
I've
yeah.
got 200 meters on top of that. Okay.
Yeah, on top of that. And you can even, using the 200 meters from the control unit to the first sensor, or you can split together. Let's say, for example, you know, along that segment, 100 meters, you have a section that doesn't need sensor. So you can start with 150 and put additional 20 meters. So the total final it will be 200 meters. So, yeah, along the lines. So this is like the bill of material that you need. Control unit for 600 meters. So 6 roll of cables, 6 UTURs, and you are good to go. Physical installation. So as I explained you have the fence. You can put the G-fence control unit outside, or it could be inside using non-detector cable. Fixing hooks. Then very important, when you start the line, each sensor, you can use UV tie wraps plastic, as those ones.